Once upon a time, there was a king. The name of the king was Minos. He was the king of an island called Crete. He was very happily ruling the country. All the sea transports were under his control. But he was in a great problem that his wife gave birth to a monster. The monster is a creature with a head and tail of a bull and the body part of a human being. And that monster started to terrorize the people of that island, and it became a great nuisance in that island, Crete. And this king was thinking of a solution to solve and to kill or to imprison this monster. At that time, there was a world famous, well known inventor and architect called Daedalus. And he came to know about Daedalus, and he brought Daedalus to his island. He and his son Icarus also came along with Daedalus to that island, and this inventor, he built a maze-like palace, a maze. If someone enters into that palace, he can't come out of that palace without any guidance, because such a trap it was. And this Daedalus constructed, after his strong effort and long thinking process, he invented a maze-like palace. It is called labyrinth. Labyrinth is a word also, means maze-like palace. In that labyrinth, this monster was trapped in. And that the terrorizing and the nuisance of that monster became an end to that. And this foxy-minded king did not allow this Daedalus to leave back to his own country. They put Icarus and Daedalus. Icarus is the son of Daedalus, both of them on a top tower, on the top of a long tower. On that top, they were living alone, and they were blocked by all the means of transportation. Even if they jump from there, they will die. There is no way. So they were put on the top of that tower. He was an inventor, we said. He was a great architect. So he saw the birds are flying above his head. So he was thinking of that way, and he started to collect the feathers, the fallen down on feathers of the birds on the top of the tower, and using wax and the feathers, he prepared 2 pairs of wings, one for him and one for his son Icarus. And after fabricating that 2 pairs of wings, they decided to fly. And like that, they flew out of that tower and they escaped, this Daedalus and Icarus. At the time of flying, already the father had given a warning to Icarus that you should not fly too high near to the sun, and you should not fly too low near to the sea. Both are dangerous. You have to maintain the middle path, because if you go higher and higher, and it will be more hot, and this wax will soften and melt, and your feathers will fall off, that will come off. But they too were flying in the air, and Daedalus was maintaining that path. But later Icarus broke the promise and broke the warning of his father, and he started to fly higher and higher, and became more ambitious to fly higher and higher. When he reached near to the sun, and it started to sweat, and this wax began to soften and melt, and the feathers come off, and he fell into the sea and died. This is the story in Greek mythology. Icarus and Daedalus. Good morning, dear children. Welcome to today's class. Today we are going to discuss not a story. We are going to deal with a poem written by Browning. The Robert Browning has written a beautiful and very famous, well discussed poem. The name is The Patriot. The Patriot has such a connection with Icarus that I will connect the story with the poem. And before going to start the poem, first of all I would like to invite Rania. Rania has already explained the poem very nicely. Let Rania come and explain the poem. After that I will come and give you the details, and here and there I will also talk about that. Okay, please, you can watch what Rania can.
Good morning, everyone. The poem The Patriot, written by Robert Browning, depicts the fate of a hero who is glorified and eulogized for his achievements. But it is sad and ironic that his achievements are soon forgotten by the fickle-minded crowd. Let's get into the 6 beautifully showcased stanzas of this poem. In the first stanza, the patriot recalls how he was welcomed a year ago when he came back after his grand victory. His path was strewn with fragrant roses as symbol of love. The people were mad in their zeal and enthusiasm. The church towers blazed with victory flags. But the scene has drastically changed after a year. In stanza 2, the whole atmosphere resounded with the sound of church bells rung in honor of the hero just a year ago. The crowd surged with joy. The patriot appreciated the enthusiasm of the people. If he had demanded from them something impossible like the sun from the sky, they would have granted him. They would have asked him what else he desired. Such was the time a year ago. In stanza 3, the patriot says that he tried to do the impossible for the pleasure of his admirers. He did his best. He did whatever he could do for his countrymen. But what reward had he got? Is this the reward he is getting from his people? In a sad tone, the patriot feels that people have forgotten all that he had done for them. In stanza 4, as the patriot is being led to the gallows, they find no one on the house roofs to bid him farewell. Only a few crippled persons sitting at the windows are watching him. Most of the people have gone to the shambles gate or are quite near the scaffold to have the best view of his execution. In stanza 5, the patriot is being led to the scaffold in the rain. A long rope has been used to tie up his hands tightly on the back. The rope is so tight that it cuts both his hands. He feels that his forehead is bleeding. It is due to the stones hurled at him by some callous and cruel fellows. They hurled the stones to show their resentment for the so-called misdeeds done by him during the year. It's ironic that they have completely forgotten his good deeds. In the last stanza, stanza number 6, the patriot entered his city amid great rejoicings and honor. Now he was leaving it in great humiliation and insult. He feels that if he had died a year ago, some people actually collapsed in excess of joy. God would not have cared for him. But now then he had not been rewarded by the people. He was certain to be rewarded in the heaven. He feels safe in the bosom of God. Thus, even in intense defeat, he finds something to console himself with. This is how the poem ends. The Patriot is a harsh critic on public sentiment and morality. It stresses on the point that not all decisions made or supported by the people are the right decisions, or even in their own interest. The poem has a sense of universality to it, as history has witnessed the rise and fall of many such patriots throughout its course. A grim reminder that life is uncertain. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay, thank you, Rania. It was a very nice explanation. Um, Besides that, for your better understanding, I would like to just give some glimpses of that stanza by stanza. First stanza we can look.
Stanza 1. It was roses, roses all the way, with myrtle mixed in my path like mad. The house roofs seemed to heave and sway. The church spires flamed, such flags they had, a year ago on this very day.
In this stanza, he was reminiscing, he was thinking of the past glorious time. He was recollecting the past joyable memories that once, just before exactly a year ago, when he was coming this way, all the way there were roses. That means in honor of him, everybody put roses and myrtle. Myrtle is a type like this, a shrub, and the path was mixed with flowers and all, and the house roofs, that even that also was in jubilant, in joy, in they were in ecstasy. It was moving up and down and moving side by side, and people were on the top of it. Even the church, top of the church, at the top of the church, there was sorry, there was flags. The color of the flags was red, and that is what it is given there, flamed. And so when it is flying in the air, it was just like a flame. So such a color it was flying on the top of the church a year ago in this.
Summary, stanza 2. The air broke into a mist with bells. The old walls rocked with a crowd and cries. Had I said, good folk, mere noise repels, but give me your son from yonder skies, they had answered, and afterward, what else?
The second stanza of the poem talking about the rejoicing and the ecstasy of that town, that place, the same place. It was like the air broke into mist with bells. So in this stanza, it starts like that. To a imagery it bring the sound, the visual imagery and sound imagery, that mixing together. So visual and sound, and the air broke. The air is the visual, and that mixed up with the sound imagery of with the bell like mist. It be because of the noise, because of the shouting of the people, and the old walls that rocked with the crowd, and even that walls also, it was rocking with the cries and shouts of the people and the crowd of the people, because they were on the walls and all. So it was rocking. And then the patriot. The patriot is telling that if I had asked them, I am not interested in this mere ripples. I'm not interested in this shouting. And can you, if I had asked them, give me the sky, they would have given to me, because and they would have given to me, and they will ask me, what else you want? They were in such a honor with me. They were treating me. It was a year ago, it was like that. If I had asked them, give me your sky, if sky in the sense that this is the source of whole energy for them, to that people, to that community, to that nation. And if I had asked them even the central source of the energy, they could have given to me, and further they will ask me, what else you want? Because I was the hero of them a year ago. In the same way it was.
Summary, stanza 3. Alack, it was I who leaped at the sun, to give it my loving friends to keep. Not man could do, have I left undone. And you see my harvest, what I reap, this very day. Now a year is run.
In this third stanza, he is talking about what he has done for these people. He is telling that, alack, in sadness, expression, in regret, he is telling, alack, it was I, the patriot, it was I who tried to do something impossible. That is what, leaped at the sun. To go into the sun is impossible now. To leap at the sun, just Icarus. You remember the story, what the Icarus was doing. Like that, I tried. It was me. And to give it to what, for what? To give that to that impossible. It is not mentioned what he tried to do impossible thing for the people. So it was I who tried even that also to these friends. For them I have done. Not man could do, I have left undone. I have done everything a man can do. I did not leave anything undone. Nothing a man can do. That I have done everything, even I tried to do that such impossible. Here it is not explained what he has done, the patriot has done for the country, and even that he has done everything. Then he's asking us, telling us, see what my harvest, and after all doing that all to the country, see my harvest, the result, what I reap. This was this very day. Now a year is run, now 1 year is over. Now you see what the result I get after an year, the reap, the harvest, what I am going to harvest is this.
Summary, stanza 4. There's nobody on the housetops now, just a palsied few at the windows set, for the best of the sight is all allow at the shambles gate, or better yet, by the very scaffold's foot, I trow.
In this fourth stanza, in the previous stanza, he already expressed what is harvest is. What? After a year ago, he has done so many things. He has leaped out the sun. And what the result is, after 1 year, what he is going to harvest. Is telling that there is nobody. Now he is on the same street. You see, now onwards, that fourth stanza onwards, the tense has been changed. Now the tense is something different. In present tense, it is explaining. There is nobody. The beginning stanza, it was roses, like that. Early, I told he was recollecting. Now it is in present. There is nobody on the house now, not like a year ago. On the top of the house, no one is there. There are 1 or 2 people. Actually, they are there. Why? They are sick people. They are diseased people. They are paralyzed people. They can't walk and move. So that they are not on the top. At the window side, they are looking at me. Such sick people are looking at me in these houses. And for where they all are, all the people where they are, they have gone to the shambles. The shambles gate means all the people. A year ago, where all the people were there now, and now all the people have gone. They have flooded to a place to see a greater treat. Not like the previous year. Everybody they have gathered at Shambles Gate. Shambles Gate is a place where the people get together to watch the execution, the capital punishment, the execution of a person. For watching that, people are gathering a place. That place is called a Shambles. So everybody now in that Shambles Gate. Or better yet, even they are not satisfied to stand there and watch the execution of the patriot. They are not satisfied. Even some of them wanted to come very closer to that by the very scaffold's foot. I believe that some of them, they wanted to come very closer to my execution. They are gathering there to watch my execution, capital punishment, hanging. So they are, because this scaffold is a platform of execution where the culprit will be put there, and the removal of the floor, he will hang. So that floor is called a scaffold, very near to the foot of that. Some of them, they wanted to take place, so to have a better sight.
Summary, stanza 5. I go in the rain and more than needs, A rope cuts both my wrists behind, and I think by the feel my forehead bleeds. For they fling, whoever has a mind, stones at me for my years' misdeeds.
In the fifth stanza, in this stanza, he is again in the present, it is going on. What is going on now is that he is walking in the rain. I go in the rain, and he was walking, how the manner he was walking, both of his hands are tied back at his wrist. Is telling that more than needs a rope cut both my wrist behind. At back of him, behind him, both of his hands were tied, and because they used a rope to tie his both wrist, and they have tightened it more than it required. That's why it hurts him, and he's telling that I think by the feel, and he can't touch out his any other body part, because both the hands have been tied at the back. So he can feel that my forehead bleeds, for they for they throw stones on me, and my blood is coming out of my forehead, that I can feel, but I can't touch it. Whoever has a mind stones at me for my years' misdeeds. For what the misdeed. So here it is not telling what the patriot has done, or the misunderstanding or misdeed what he did, not explaining, but the patriot being going to be executed in a place, so where the people have gathered, and they are throwing stones on him. Those who have mind to throw, they all are throwing, and the blood is coming, and the wrist is hurting, because that much tight they have fastened their the rope. So let us see the last.
Summary, stanza 6. Thus I entered and thus I go. In triumphs, people have dropped down dead. Paid by the world, what dost thou owe? Me? God might question, now instead. 'Tis God shall repay, I am safer so.
The last stanza, in this stanza, the poet is telling that thus I entered and thus I go. Is telling that this is the way I came, this is the way I go. You see, a patriot, when he came, at the time roses everywhere, and this myrtle mixed in the path, and all you see it was, and that's the way I came. Now I go. You see, people are throwing stones on me, blood, it is bleeding, and my wrist tied at the back, and you see the people have been gathered at the scaffold at the shambles gate to see my execution. This is the way I am going. In triumphs, in victories, people have dropped down. In the victory time, people might have died. Many people they have died in victory time, at the time of his success, at the time of his that is victorious time. Many people they dropped down dead, paid by the world. And some people they die in the victorious time, and some other people die paid by the world. What doth thou of me? God might question, and after my death, God will ask me, because already I have paid by the world. In the world itself, I have been paid. Throwing people, execution, this all I have paid. Already I paid what I did mislead, what I did the misdeed, for that I have been paid. So the God will ask, what do of to me? He will ask, and he definitely God will repay. I am sure, because now for the misdeed, if, and here it is in still it is in a question mark, whether he has done any misdeed, or the country people they have misunderstood about him or not. So or anyway, he have been paid by the world itself, so that the God will not give any punishment directly taken to the heaven. It's a religious concept. He will be taken, and God will repay for this. Anyway, I am safer, so he is in safer zone. That's why. So this is the altogether the summary of the story. And here we have Shaza also. Shaza also has explained this. It is her first attempt, I think. She has done very nicely the explanation of the entire poem. That also we can watch. And after that, what you have to do is that you have to learn the summary of the poem line by line. You have to understand. If you have any doubts regarding the poem, I did not take much words to explain this, because other two students, they have explained well, and for your better understanding I have given my words. And you do practice of explaining this type of stories, this type of poems, and try to impart to others, so that you will have more understanding, deeper understanding in it. For that I am giving such kind of homework and works for you. And regarding this, the question answers and all, I will pass to you in PDF form in WhatsApp group, and wait for that. And before that, for your understanding, I am just including a few understanding level questions also in this video. Please answer to that questions also very quickly to my WhatsApp number. Thank you for watching, and please listen to Shaza's voice.
Discuss a new chapter, The Patriot. It is a poem written by Robert Browning. Before coming to the poem, let me say about Robert Browning. He is one of my most favorite speakers. His dramatic monologue made his poem Victorian. And you have the doubt that what is meant by dramatic monologue. Dramatic monologue is a poem which the speaker utters the poem or entire poem in a critical manner. So this poem has 6 stanzas divided. Each stanzas are discussing about the life of Patriot. So let's go for the chapter. The first stanza starts with the Patriot, that a grand welcoming in front of the public or grand event. At that time he was a hero to that peoples, and while he is walking through the way, the path was covered with the roses and myrtle, and the people standing on the rooftops were cheered for him, and they were over excited to see him. And the spires of the church is covered with the flaming flags for this celebration, and he's just reminiscing the past, that a year ago this was happened. Okay, the second stanza is saying that the peoples were rejoining by ringing the bells, and they were overexcited to see him, and the entire atmosphere is thick due to the gathering of the peoples and their noises. And some peoples are standing on the roofs and just keep cheering for him. And now the Patriot is saying that he would ask anything to the public. No, they have readily given for him. Such a great image was for him in front of the public. Fourth stanza, the speaker describes the contrast between the past situation and the present situation. Now there is no any people on the rooftops for cheering, and it is empty. Now there is nobody, only some men who are just waiting to see him dead. In the fifth stanza, the speaker is walking towards the scaffold, and his two hands are tied behind with a tight rope, so it is bleeding. He can feel only the trickling of the blood, and the people's throwing the stones on him causes injuries, and the speaker is not seem to be angry with those people who are throwing the stones. In the concluding stanza, he says that we have to gather some hope in such a painful situation, and he says that he has played his role and now it's the time to live. And at the verge of his death, he consoles his soul that may he will get the rewards from God's company.
I told you, a story. in that Icarus had a great fall as he flew higher and higher to the sky near to the sun. He fell into the sea. It was the same reason for the Patriot also. As he tried to leap out to the sun, he was trying to do higher and higher. Then there was the great fall of him. He see what a great fall. A year ago he was flying higher and higher. He has been treated with the people of that country with roses and such a shout, and all the church, all the top rooftop people were there. It was like that, and the fall, you see. So here is the comparison of that. As he was the ambitious like Icarus to fly higher, then he received this great fall. So here is the Greek mythological story connect with this lesson, the poem written by Browning. And thank you, Shaza, also for explaining very nicely this poem. And please keep on watching this video. The understanding level questions are coming. Thank you. Have a nice day. Till then, see you. Bye.